But but we also want to try to approve these item by item. And so this is a fairly significant one for me, so I'm just going to raise my concern. This came up at our town hall meeting last week. In the current draft that's gone to the Planning Commission on wetlands, there's a pretty fundamental shift in our policy there. We've gone from, and maybe John Cain could comment on this, we've gone from a series of regulations to say, here's what you cannot do. These are the activities that are regulated, to a list of here's what you can do. And I just feel that's a fundamentally flawed approach. And I understand, Shireene, that it was very difficult to try to come up with a list of what you can do or what you can't do. But I think our job is to do that difficult work. And our job is to say, if we're going to say to a person, you cannot do this on your property, we need to have a really good reason for making that regulation. And it needs to be supported by the science, which is what this whole process is about. So I know that's not going to be very helpful to you, but I'd like to see us agree that we're going to be consistent across each of these chapters and recognize that if we're going to tell somebody they can't do something, it's supported by science, and we're going to be specific about what people can't do.
Yeah, the other statement that was also made at the town hall meeting is if it's not on the can do list, then you can't do it. And that's pretty all-encompassing. It would be far better, I agree with that, it would be far better to have what you can do. And then if it's not on the list, you can, and then if you find that that it's something that should be on the can't do list, then you modify it that way.
So our existing regulation, this is one of the confusing parts of our existing regulations when we started tearing them apart. The existing regulations have a list of regulated activities. And then on the section on buffers, it has a very general statement saying something to the effect that the area within buffers is going to be protected. And it doesn't really go much beyond that to talk about what you, other than then there's some exemptions. There's some exemptions from the regulations. So it's actually kind of already set up that way, but without as much specificity as we're trying to get into these regulations. But we probably still need to do some fine-tuning to make it clear what you can do, what you can't do. At this point, the Planning Commission has their hearing on Friday. So we'll see what they think, and then when we bring it to you, if you guys want a different approach than they recommend, that would be the time to make some changes and put something different in your hearing draft if that's what you want to do.
My main point for raising it today is I want to make sure the Planning Commission knows of that significant concern, and that I'd love to see their energy, them have the opportunity to comment on it and attempt to resolve that before they send it to us, because it's something that I'm likely to push very hard to a direction I want us to try to get to, if I can get 3 other people to agree with me.
Okay, so you would like the approach taken, you can do everything unless we list something that you can't do. So just the opposite approach from what we have now.
Because I think we need to have a scientific reason for telling people why they can't.
Okay.